A warm country day. George's favorite time to go boating. Toy boating, that is. Even a toy boat captain can hit rough seas in his favorite perfect pond. Sea captains don't cry, they make repairs. Or ask a friend to.
I can have it fixed for you first thing tomorrow morning, Captain.
So, at exactly 10 seconds before the first thing the next morning...
Right on time. There you go. Ready to set sail again.
George rushed back to his perfect pond to set sail. Now he had a boat, but no pond. And the creek was only a trickle. Where could a whole pond go? He didn't find his pond, but he found a strange wall in the creek. Here's what happened to the water. It got stuck behind this wall.
Hey, George! Looking for the beaver family? The beavers built their dam to make this great pond. Bet you never see beavers working in the city, huh? Yep, that's them now, working in the woods. I took pictures of them. Don't get too close while they work or they'll get upset. Bye!
So these were the beavers. George tried to tell them their branches were floating away. He must have gotten too close. If the beavers didn't want him watching, he'd just sail his boat. If they wouldn't share their pond, he'd make his own. All he had to do was build a dam like they did. There must be an easier way to get wood for a monkey dam. Mrs. Rinkin scrap wood.
Been having lots of fun with your boat? Oh, you want the scrap wood, do you? Take it. I'll even hitch the cart to Leslie to help haul it.
Now he had wood. What else would be good for stopping water? It was summertime, and the city was trapped in a heat wave. A real scorcher. But there was one city dweller who was not hot. George was in the country, where things were much, much cooler. Oh, whoa! You call that a cannonball? I'll show you a cannonball! George loved the country. It had lots of great stuff the city didn't have. You could hear frogs croaking. You could feel the breeze from a hummingbird's wings when it spun around the flowers. At night, you could see a sky full of stars.
What you doing, George? Stargazing? No one knows exactly how many stars there are. Not even scientists.
That's when George thought, maybe it's time somebody found out. And since scientists would probably be very grateful, George decided he was just the monkey to count all the stars. The most important rule in star counting was keeping track. George marked each star down on his pad. The two most important rules in star counting were knowing the difference between stars and lightning bugs and keeping track. Third rule, the other two rules don't matter if you don't stay awake. Because when you come back the next night, you can't tell which stars were counted or uncounted. So last night's count can't count. And you have to start all over. The only solution, counting them all fast before you fall asleep. Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But George wasn't fast enough.
Morning, fellas!
Oh, hi, Bill. George was up late counting stars.
Too bad you can't count them now, huh? They're always there, you know. We just can't see them on account of the sun being so bright.
George wasn't so sure about that. He wondered what really happened to stars during the day. Maybe they slept. Or maybe they got blown out like candles. Then again, maybe there was a guy named Lenny who just pulled a switch. Wherever they went, you can't count something that isn't there. George wasn't gonna quit. There had to be a way to count stars and go to sleep too. He just had to figure it out. The big upside-down cap. It could be a placekeeper. He could count the stars below it until he had them all, then move to the other sides. He had a system. Sometimes it's tough to explain what makes something really, really funny. And sometimes it's not.
And after that, I decided to only wear yellow. Oh, that? Yeah, that's my lemonade stand. One summer, I got a new soccer ball from running that stand. Which reminds me, there's lemonade in the fridge if you're thirsty. I just stocked up. I am really looking forward to coming home and having ice-cold lemonade. Be a good little monkey. Those shorts were a gift from my grandma.
George wasn't thinking about funny shorts now. He needed a new soccer ball. And if a lemonade stand worked for the boy with the yellow hat, it could work for George.
Hey, George. Whew, it's a real scorcher, huh? Oh, you want a lemon crate? Sure, go right ahead.
George now had his very own lemonade stand. This was pretty easy.
Wow, is it ever hot? Hey, is that lemonade? Thanks, but I can't drink all that. Don't you have any cups? That's still a lot. How about... There, that's a good amount.
George never knew you could make 1 cup of lemonade into 2.
Delicious. Let me give you a little something.
What a great business. George wondered why everyone didn't have a lemonade stand.
Here you go. Thanks.
He wasn't sure how this was going to work, but George wouldn't give up while he still had lemonade left. George didn't speak dog or cat, but he knew begging when he saw it. He couldn't give them too much because this lemonade was going to get him a soccer ball. But Charky and Gnocchi didn't know George's plan. They were just thirsty.
Ooh, I'd like some lemonade. Or maybe not.
Can I give you some advice? People prefer unlicked lemonade.
It had been a particularly rewarding day at the going out of business store. George couldn't imagine how this day could get any better. Or maybe it could. Mabel's department store had added a fresh, homemade candy counter.
Oh, I don't know about you, but I simply can't walk away from blue candy. But I can't carry this into Mabel's.
The pyramid sort of enhances the pinkness, don't you think? I'm working on a rhombus shape, but it keeps falling over.
A rhombus?
It's a work in progress. Anyway, welcome to Kaylee's Candies. I'm Kaylee.
We'd like 4 small boxes.
Great! This is my first order today.
No one could wait till they got home to try the chocolates.
Ooh,
George's box has 4, not 6. You got shortchanged.
He can have 2 of mine. I just wanted to taste anyway.
So can I have your other 3?
George didn't think it was fair for anyone to sacrifice. There was only one right thing to do.
Oh, nuts. Oh, you want to buy 2 more? You're missing 2. How do I know you didn't eat them? You most certainly haven't eaten any chocolate. Boy, you sure have nice teeth. Pick any 2 you want. Sorry I shortchanged you. I put some of these boxes together at home and my cat distracts me. Oh dear. I need to pick up more stock, but I can't just leave. Hey, would you mind watching the counter? You're obviously extremely honest, and I've hardly had any business all day. All you have to do is watch the chocolates while I'm gone. Thank you so much.
The mysterious rhombus. George wondered if he could make a rhombus. It didn't seem hard. Why did other shapes stack better? Maybe they went together by shape, not color. George concentrated on his work. George hadn't expected any customers.
I want a box of chocolates for my wife. Do you have mints? Are these mints? Well, what are those? That doesn't look like a mint.
The next blue one had the same filling, and it still wasn't mint.
Well, don't you have a flavor chart?
George always liked helping in the Pischetti's green, beautiful garden.
We need more tomatoes, more eggplant, more everything. Nettie, we must expand our garden. I have drawn up a plan. New hoses, fresh topsoil, more plants.
But, Chef, where will we expand to?
The reason George liked their garden so much was that it was right in the middle of the city.
Hey, the reason you need more veggies is that you use so many to experiment.
I must experiment. How else can I perfect my recipe for the perfect Giardino burger?
I thought those 2 were great.
Well, they were. But only great, not perfect.
The firehouse picnic is in 1 hour. Can you get it perfect in 1 hour?
I must, for I am Pischetti! So, what's gonna make this perfect? Onion, garlic, onion. No, garlic. Onion? Okay, let's try it. Giorgio, you have helped me find the perfect mixture. These are my recipes. I write down how I make my food, so I can make it the same way every time.
Happy with the recipe, Chef Pischetti grilled a test burger.
Wait, I left out the pepper. Where is my grinder? Nettie, come here. Tell me what you think of this. Be honest. All of my Giardino burger ingredients came from our garden, Giorgio. Taste it, taste it.
See, this is perfect.
You're not just making those yummy sounds to be nice, right?
I'm your wife and he's a monkey. If we are not honest, who is?
So, Chef Pischetti quickly made enough burger patties for the firefighters' picnic.
Please put these on the back of my truck while I get my grill ready.
George put the box on the truck right outside the restaurant. But he didn't know there were 2 trucks out there.
Hi! Hey! Look, there's a monkey waving at me. Monkeys are so friendly.
Oh, Nettie, if everyone does not love those Giardino burgers, I will never cook again.
Even if they don't, you have a book full of other great recipes.
I don't care. If anything at all goes wrong, I'm gonna hang up my big white hat forever.
Please relax. They will love them.
George couldn't tell him something went wrong. And maybe he didn't have to. If that book showed the chef how to make the burgers, George could use it too. And make burgers that would be exactly the same. The ingredients came from the garden. Here were pictures of things from the garden. So he had obviously found the right recipe. George couldn't recall ever seeing the man with the yellow hat looking like this. He was usually calm, cool, and wearing a yellow hat.
Oh, here he comes. Hello?
Good morning. Come on in. Ready as promised.
It was worth living without it for 3 long days. I'd rather carry it myself, George.
You're not gonna wear your hat?
No, I want to keep it perfect till tonight. We're going to the opening of the new planetarium dome. Thanks. Let's get home before anything happens to my perfect clean hat. Well, we made it safely. Okay, now, George, when I get back, we're going right to the planetarium, so take a bath. There'll be photographers there. I want you to look clean and fluffy.
George was going to take a bath, just like he was told. It sure was a perfect hat. Who could resist trying it on? George wanted Compass to see him in the yellow hat. It'd only take a second. George saw the hat fly this way, but it disappeared. The hat was back home and still perfect. Almost. George removed the piece of branch as carefully as any surgeon working on any yellow hat could. Okay, there was just a tiny thread there. No problem. Maybe he needed to pull harder. Or maybe it had to be cut off. George had forgotten that the last time he used his safety scissors was to cut his strawberry jam and banana sandwich. It was only a small smudge. All he had to do was clean it off. This stiff brush got the grill sparkling like new every time, and the grill got dirtier than the hat. He may have scrubbed too hard. When Mrs. Quint asked for help setting up a surprise party for Mr. Quint's birthday, George was almost ready. He practiced yelling, "Surprise!" until he was really good at it. But he wanted to be the best, so he kept practicing.
You ever thrown a surprise party for Mr. Quint before?
Well, it's the only way to give him a party.
Because they're such a big family?
Exactly.
I'm watching for Mr. Quint's boat. No sign of him.
Oh, you don't have to watch yet, Bill. He won't be back for at least 2 hours.
Whoa! It's not my birthday, George. I'm not supposed to get surprised.
He's home early.
No! What do we do?
Oh, take him to your house and keep him there till party time.
Not yet, George.
Well, hey there, young fellas.
Ooh, looks like you sprung a leak. Bad luck today, huh?
Well, not all bad. Got to see part of the river I never saw before. The bottom. Well, I gotta change my soggy socks.
Don't! I mean, come to our house. We want to build a fish pond and need expert advice about fish.
Well, sure. Well, let me just get some dry clothes.
Here, dry clothes. Go help him.
All right, Mother, if you say so.
Huh? No Quint can resist fish crackers. They may come in handy. Okay, goodbye. Have fun.
So George and the man with the yellow hat kept Mr. Quint busy with lots of questions.
What do you think?
Well, if you make a pond that big, you can have almost any size fish.
As George was about to ask exactly how many whales he could have, Mr. Quint's brother, Flint Quint, showed up.
Hi. George, it's Mr. Quint's brother, the train station master.
Hey, Clint, happy birthday.
Hey, Flint, happy birthday.
Oh, didn't you know the Quints were born together? So Flint can't know about the party either, okay?
The Quints were twins. Now George had 2 people to yell surprise at. It couldn't get any better.
Your wife said you needed help, so I came right over.
Well, this here's fish business, not train, so you can weigh anchor. I'll meet you back at my house.
Don't go. We want to know about running a train around the pond we're planning. I'll be right back. Hello?
Oh, it's Mrs. Quint. Disaster. The bakery truck broke down, so they can't deliver the birthday cake.
Don't worry, I can go pick it up.
Oh, thank you. It's at Mr. Pescado's bakery over in Franklin Square.
You can't run tracks across the pond. It'll scare the fish.
Well, then we'll just have to tunnel.
Guys, could you monkey sit for me while I run an errand?
Sure. We'll just figure out the pond while you're gone.
George, it's your job to keep the Quints here so the surprise isn't wrecked, okay?
George knew this would be easy because the Quint brothers would probably argue about the pond for hours.
Well, we've got it all worked out. The perfect pond and train.
So we'll monkey sit you at my house where we could draw up plans.
George had to keep the Quints here. It was important. The surprise.
Fish crackers! Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Winter was dragging on in the big city. It seemed the snow would never melt. Fortunately, George and the man with the yellow hat were heading out on a tropical vacation. The bags were packed, the tickets were in place. Yes, the man with the yellow hat had taken care of everything. Except setting the alarm.
George, we overslept! Where's the other? Hold. We made it. Hawaii, here we come. Oh, here, George. This will make it easier.
Well, hello, little fella.
And then George saw it. His first airplane.
A free gift for you. Thanks for flying Kona Carriers.
He liked this airport already.
Wow, George, I can't believe our luck. No line. What are the chances of that?
Pretty good, since all the planes are grounded.
I'm sorry?
Haven't you heard the weather forecast?
Oh, no, the alarm didn't go off. and then I had to pack my monkey.
What a cute little monkey.
Bad news. Our plane's delayed. Big storm in Chicago. Well, they're not sure. The snow might let up a bit, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sorry.
Waiting was fine by George. After all, he had a brand new toy plane to keep him busy. Only his toy plane was gone. He'd left it right here on a red suitcase.
Let's find a place to sit. It's gonna be a while.
George didn't want to bother the man with the yellow hat about his lost toy. He had the real plane to worry about. But George couldn't stop thinking about it. Where could his toy plane have gone?
How about I see if I can find a coloring book for you? Okay, I'll be right back. Stay put.
And then it hit him. If he found that red suitcase, he'd probably find his toy plane, too.
Pardon me.
One important rule of travel: if you jump on a moving sidewalk, make sure it's going the same way you want to go. But no matter how fast George went, that suitcase went faster.
Would the parent or guardian of a little lost monkey please report to the information desk?
Oh, I can't thank you enough.
Not a problem.
How about we check on our flight again?
Here was all this fresh snow just itching to be played with. But it was too deep for George.
Hey, George! Guess a city kid wouldn't have seen cross-country skis before. It's the most fun way to travel on deep snow. I've got an old pair of skis you can have. Want to come with me?
This was fun. George took to skiing like a monkey to skiing.
Think you can handle that big hill?
With skis on, George could go anywhere there was snow. Or so he thought.
You can't attack a steep hill straight on like that, George. You gotta zigzag it. When you stop, angle your skis like this so you don't slide back down. Yeah, that's it. There you go, George. That's the way to do it.
George had a great view up here. He could see houses and farms. And there was his house. And then he thought he'd better head home right now, because the man was making the last of the cocoa. And no one can resist the drink me now power of cocoa. Not even the man with the yellow hat.
I wonder what that could be. I'm gonna go take a quick look around. You wait here.
This wasn't good. He was getting even further from home.
Hey, George! Down here! I couldn't find what made that sound. I'm heading home now. Have fun!
At least it was all downhill from here. He figured he'd be home in seconds. There had to be a way to get that ski. Well, one ski was better than none.
That was awesome!
One great thing about living in the country is fresh dairy products.
Morning, Mr. Ankins.
And to George, one great thing about fresh dairy products was the cows.
Leslie sure likes you. Well, happy cows give more milk, so please stay as long as you like.
Does that sound like fun, George? Okay, remember, be a good little monkey.
George really liked cows. No one else he knew was that big, that friendly, and gave milk. It seemed like Jumpy Squirrel must have had food stored everywhere. Wildflowers. George had never seen so many colors anywhere else but in his crayon box. And they smelled better than crayons. George wanted to share his discovery. After all, who doesn't like to smell nice flowers? George tried telling her to be a good little cow. Leslie obviously didn't speak monkey. So George tried to speak cow. More cows were coming. Maybe this whole field had once been filled with beautiful flowers, and they'd already eaten the rest. George had to act fast before these flowers became a big bovine buffet. Unfortunately, cows don't understand arrows. He tried to distract them by juggling apples. But the cows ate his act. So George borrowed an old scarecrow and turned it into a frightening scare cow. It was a great day for George. For the first time ever, he was going camping. It was also a great day for Hundley because, well, George was going camping. And that meant George wouldn't be around to mess up his lobby.
Okay, you keep track of everything we pass so we don't get lost. And I'll watch the compass so we know which direction we're walking. The first rule of camping is always pick a good campsite. All right, these stakes will anchor our tent. Can you put them in the ground? I put a mallet in your pack. A good camper must be ready for anything. We'll build a fire a safe distance from the tent. You gather some dead wood off the ground, okay? Good job, George. Okay, stand back.
George's wood made a perfect fire. Perfect for staying warm and perfect for cooking marshmallows. The next morning, George emerged from the tent ready for anything. Well, anything but.
Time to go home, George. I don't know when we'll camp again, but soon. I promise. Soon.
An expert camper is always ready.
No, George.
So for the next week, George wore his backpack. All the time. Everywhere.
No, George. Soon.
But soon never came.
Poor George. I don't know when I'll be able to take him camping again.
Gee, I haven't gone camping in years. Hey, maybe that's what Hundley and I should do on our next day off. Camp. And George can come too.
Oh, that would be great. George, would you like to go camping with Hundley?
As an expert camper, George was happy to show Hundley some of his tools. But knowing that George had a hammer only made Hundley nervous.
For Forget your compass, George. The auto navigator will guide us. This should be as good a spot as any since we've got the trailer.
When spring is in the air, there's nothing a monkey likes more than to spring in the air. To keep his lobby orderly, Hunley always kept a close eye on George.
Come on, George.
I wish I had your energy, George.
Just watching George made Hunley tired.
Hello, Professor Wiseman.
Hi. What do you have, George? Your favorite kind of dinosaur? Oh, that's your favorite. But they're the same. Those are the bones that would be inside that. You know, same as the bones in you. Feel your arm. The hard part? That's bone. It's your skeleton.
Now that he knew he had one of those under his face, George had to see the T-Rex skull up close.
George, don't. It isn't safe. Oh. Are you okay?
George always wanted to ride in an ambulance, but he couldn't really enjoy it. At the hospital, Dr. Baker decided they needed to see George's leg bone by taking an X-ray.
Well, that's a small break. We have to put your leg in a cast. Now, this cast will keep your leg from moving while the bone heals.
Hey, that looks like George.
Hunley knew what to do when he heard that name. He got ready to defend the dignity of his lobby.
Poor little guy. Is he all right?
Oh, yeah, but he's gonna be out of action for weeks.
No jumping. No noise. Hunley wasn't so sure this was George.
Well, hello. You have a visitor, George.
It was George, all right. No one else in the building smelled like that.
Hello? Hunley come up here?
Yeah, we're in George's room.
You know, in the lobby, Hunley pays more attention to George than anyone. That's friendship. Huntley could keep George company when you go to work. I'd excuse him from his lobby duties.
George, would you like Huntley to be your monkey sitter?
It was nearly time for the annual Firehouse Band concert, so Rescue Squad 86 got together to practice. George couldn't wait to hear the beautiful music.
Don't worry, George. We'll sound better. We're just warming up. All right, let's get started. A 5, a 6, 7, and 8.
George, this practice is for band members only. That's the rule.
A 5, 6, 7, and 8.
If he couldn't play in this band, George would start his own. First, he'd need an instrument.
You can't play with my tuba, George. It's a very delicate instrument.
Have a good practice?
Great. You don't want to miss this concert.
The doorman's ring of keys sounded a lot like a tambourine.
I'll start lunch. Do you feel like a Giardino burger, George?
George needed to find something to put all of his keys on so they could jingle in the right way.
Lunch is almost ready, George. Have you seen the hall closet key anywhere? I know I have a box of old keys that I don't use anymore. You can play with them.
George realized there were musical sounds everywhere.
Do you want to make instruments with the recycling, too? I think you have enough for an orchestra here, George.
George and the man with the yellow hat washed his future instruments.
I don't think so, George. Those are the lids for my best pots.
George wasn't sure what instruments he was making, but he knew what he liked. George was conducting an important experiment, testing the bounce factor of the living room furniture. This part of the couch made a different sound. That wasn't the couch. It sounded big. It sounded heavy. And it came from up there.
You must have heard our new neighbor walking around. He moved in last week.
What George had heard seemed heavier than footsteps.
What are you doing? George, you must have heard our neighbor walking. That's all it could be. It's not like he's got some wild animal up there.
The man with the yellow hat lived with George, so why couldn't the new neighbor live with an animal? But what kind? Of course, the new neighbor had brought home an elephant. The man with the yellow hat had to hear this.
George? You dreamt about an elephant?
Shh.
No more nature books before you go to sleep, George. They're obviously giving you strange dreams. This is better bedtime reading. The Happy Sleepy Monkey. Good night.
This new sound certainly wasn't an elephant walking around. It was an elephant that was doing what?
Oh, boy, I didn't sleep at all last night.
George never realized there were so many sounds in the world. He'd never listened hard enough. That was the balcony to the apartment upstairs, where the new neighbor lived, with his elephant. Friday afternoon, a perfect time for a trip. Bottles and newspapers went to the basement. But some things had to be taken to the recycling center.
Hey, looks like you could use a hand. Or maybe another foot. I'm guessing you're going the same way I am. I have to pick up a package for Betsy. The recycling center's right next door. Stick it all in Betsy's wagon. I'll give you a lift. It's gonna be easier pushing you downhill. Uh-oh! George, are you okay? The wheel! I'll get it! Boy, rolled a long way. I bet you could get it to roll from here to the other end of the park if you wanted. Might even set some sort of wheel rolling record. Say, what do you think? For the record? It's really going. It's gone. Hurry, after it! You go that way.
I got it.
Where could it be? Oh my gosh! The package place will be closing soon. Come on, we'll find the wheel later. Kick! This isn't so bad, as long as we keep the weight. Kick! Over the back wheels and you keep kick! Kicking the other wheel back in, we'll be there in... Hey, we're here! With time to spare. Our problems are over. Oh, this is gonna be a problem. Good idea, George. Let's take your stuff to the recycling center. Then we'll have room in the wagon. Hey, what are you doing, George? That won't work.
All winter, George loved playing with Chef Biscotti's mobile. But when winter was over...
It's spring now, Giorgio. Time to take this down.
Springtime seemed like a bad excuse to get rid of something fun. So why not make a new spring mobile? What's more spring-like than fresh fruit? George thought his mobile had everything a mobile needs. Had he forgotten something?
Balance. That's what you need. Like this.
Oh,
Wow! Great!
that was something.
For our next demonstration of perfect balance, we need a volunteer from the audience.
Huh? Save it for the show, Claire. She means we can fix that.
George wondered, who were these incredible fruit balancers?
Zucchinis!
Piscati!
Giorgio, these are my friends, the famous zucchinis.
We came by to order food for our rehearsal. Our show is tonight.
Molto bene. I gonna deliver it myself.
Thanks!
Ciao!
When he woke up that morning, George had never heard of them. But now, all he wanted was to be an amazing balancing zucchini. Being a cat, Gnocchi didn't see what was so tough about balancing. But George needed to see how the zucchinis did it.
You want to deliver this to the zucchinis for me? Aha! Maybe you like to see them again, because you want to be a zucchini, eh? Oh, I know. Because, Giorgio, I too dreamed that I could be an amazing zucchini. Follow your dream, Giorgio. But hurry up before the pizza get cold.
Steve, come on! Work with me here!
Aw, give it up, Betsy. You're too small to move a big brother like me.
Hi, George!
Hey, what do you got there? Smells good. Hey, what happened?
You moved closer, and now it's like we weigh the same. Thanks, George. Food! Sustenance! That which gives us the strength to perform our amazing feats! I think he wants to join us.
It was one of those country mornings when George would have slept late, if a strange sound didn't wake him up. On a windy day, the country house windows were almost musical. As good as the wind sounded, it felt even better. Smelled good, too. There had to be lots of things a clever monkey could fly out his window, like heavy winter socks. Birds he drew. his lucky brick. And there was even better stuff downstairs.
What's the excitement, George? Yeah, it's a great day to play in the wind. I'll get the door for you. George, if you're wondering how a big yellow hat would fly, you know the rule, buddy. No one is allowed to play with the yellow hat. Have fun. Clean up after yourself. And don't blow away.
George couldn't decide what he'd fly first. And then he didn't have to. Jumpy Squirrel tries hard to spend all his time in trees, leaping about. But when it's time to eat, he has to go where the nuts are buried.
Hey, George! Perfect kite flying weather, huh? Oh, careful. I'll lose control. Flying a kite's all about control. Oh, this is a lazy Susan.
He didn't know what a kite was when he woke up that morning. But there was nothing in the world George wanted more than to fly a kite.
Sorry, I can't turn over control to an inexperienced city kid. This isn't as easy as I make it look. I studied the Beaufort wind scale for 3 years. I never make mistakes. Rats! That's never coming down. Ooh, for a city kid, you sure can climb a tree. Not a scratch. Thanks, George. As a reward, I'll let you fly her.
It was a perfect day for sitting on the balcony, drawing birds, eating grapes, and drinking juice. George had seen a lot of birds, but none wearing one of those. Bird had seen a lot of animals, but none doing that. He wasn't going anywhere till he figured out what kind of animal George was.
George, be careful out there. An artist's life is full of hard knocks. Hey, that's your best bird yet. Oh, the tag? Yeah, that means it's a homing pigeon. Well, they're special birds that always return home. Hold on. Just because he came back here doesn't make this his home. Homing pigeons have special homes. Ah, that's the pizza. Wash up. Did I leave that open? We don't want that pigeon getting in here. Did you wash those hands? Shh. Wash them good. Yesterday you passed me the butter and it had grass on it. George? Oh, you want privacy. Now, where is that pizza cutter? Whoa! I was afraid he'd sneak in. Okay, you open the door. I'll catch him. George, he needs to go home. This just isn't a good home for pigeons.
If that's how it had to be, then George would turn their home into a good home for pigeons. This called for research. The pigeon made his choice. George is always a good monkey when he's asleep. But no monkey wants to sleep through Saturday. This was a Saturday that cried out for something special.
You know what this morning's crying out for?
Huh?
Donuts! Hold on! I have to get dressed. I can't go out like this. All right, I'm going.
You don't know impatient until you've been a monkey waiting for a donut.
How about eggs with those donuts? Hey, count the eggs and write down how many we have. Ready. So how many eggs do we have? There are no eggs. Well, why didn't you write 0? Oh, you don't know. I thought I was teaching you everything, and I forgot nothing. George, no time like the present to learn. You see, 0 alone means no eggs. None at all. But 0 with other numbers makes them mean a lot more. See, if we write a 0 after 1, that's 10. Write another 0, that's 100. That's 1,000. 10,000. Hey, nice zeros, you've got it. Whoa! Morning. I'll go in here and buy eggs while you get the donuts, okay? 1 dozen donuts, please. We'll meet back home. And be a good little monkey.
Someone on a donut mission can't stop and play. Dogs don't understand. George was really hungry, but his order only had a measly 1 on it. Then he remembered what the man with the yellow hat had told him about zeros.
George, Chalky, good to see ya. Oh, is that an order for your friend with the yellow hat? 100 dozen? Oh, our biggest order ever! Oh, he must be having a giant donut party.
George realized what his zeros had done. But try explaining that to a dog.
Okay, now, where did I leave that piece of paper? I misread the order. It's 1,000 dozen. Oh, this is the biggest day in the entire history of donuts. We'll have to have more donuts flown in from other towns.
It was a perfect day for boating. Anyone with a boat, or even without, was floating on the river. George had never seen so many different boats in his life. And then he saw a boat that wasn't like any he'd ever seen before. A boat full of cars.
Oh, that's a ferry boat. It carries people in cars across the river.
George loved cars. But cars and boats together, it was the apple pie and ice cream of transportation.
Ahoy! Today's our annual model boat show. Big prizes for little boats.
George! Over here! What do you think of her, George? Sailors call boats her. I bet a city kid like you never knew that.
Yeah. You made that, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Well, that is pretty impressive, isn't it, George?
Oh, thanks. But it's nothing compared to Mr. Quint's model whaling boat. That's it over there.
Draw the nets, laddies. Aye, aye, Cap'n.
And over there is Mrs. Rankin's Ark. And look at all those over there. It's some pretty tough competition this year.
Now, don't underestimate yourself, Bill. That is one fine-looking boat. Good luck. Oh, sure, you can stay with Bill. I'll set you up right here. Okay, I'll be over at the bleachers saving up some seats and sizing up Bill's competition.
I'd sure like to win a ribbon, George. To buy this kit, I had to save 9 weeks of money for my paper route. Oh, I almost forgot to do my paper route. Could you do me a big favor and watch my boat while I'm gone? See you soon.
George knew boat watching was serious business. There were a lot of nice boats here, but not one person had built the greatest boat. A ferry boat. Maybe he could build one. Commanding a ferry had been George's lifelong dream, ever since he first heard of them, earlier that morning. Luckily, Bill's boat looked good as new. Maybe he just put it down the wrong way.
Hey, George, how's it going? I'll be back after I deliver the rest of these papers. Thanks for taking good care of my boat.
George couldn't figure out what he'd done to it. It looked perfect. But he knew one thing.
No!
Bill couldn't enter the contest with this boat. George had to build him a new one, and fast. Unfortunately, George had no idea how to do that.
I know those knocks. Come on in, guys.
Wow, what's that?
My hobby. Working on complex things relaxes me.
Ah. Have you ever seen such a beautiful clock, George?
If you like it now, watch what happens every hour. So, what do you think?
Very impressive.
I'm glad you liked it, George.
Oh, we should go. The rocket presentation is starting soon.
Are you coming with us, George? Or do you want to stay here and watch the clock?
Well, if it's okay with Professor Wiseman, it's okay with me.
Now, if you want to see the little people play again, move the minute hand once around to 12. Have fun.
How long does it take to build a clock like that?
Oh, about 3 years.
Oh, that reminds me. I'll be right back. George, be a good little monkey. Exactly.
George wanted to see the little people again. That looked like George's friend, Compass, the almost homing pigeon. Because when all the other homing pigeons homed in on the statue, he almost made it. It was Compass, all right. George was happy to see his friend the pigeon. And Compass was happy to see his friend the... Well, whatever George was. George wanted Compass to see Professor Wiseman's clock in action. He couldn't fix the minute hand, and that's what made the little people play. He knew they were in there somewhere. George remembered there was another way into the clock. The back. When you take something apart, it's a good idea to pay attention to what went where. It was a perfect day to just walk down the street smelling. So, that's what George did. George's nose took him to all the best smells. Then he reached Monkey Nose Heaven.
Hello, George. It smells better back here, you know.
George couldn't believe all those different, plain-smelling things could become an amazing donut. George was wondering what kind of magic donut makers knew when his ears got in the way of his nose. George's friend Gnocchi was locked in combat with her arch-enemy, the extra-large, cutesy beau. George didn't understand Tabby, but he listened politely. Gnocchi was thrilled to be free from looking cute. George was officially a cat hero. George almost forgot he was smelling today. Then, Chef Pischetti's kitchen grabbed his nose. Chef Pischetti's kitchen was like a nose circus.
Gnocchi, il mio gatto dolce. You've lost your pretty ribbon. Come see, come see. Ba-ba-doo-ba-doo. There. Now she's cute. Welcome, Giorgio. How is your friend, Capello Giallo Grande? Oh, I can't play. I'm making a very special meal for famous restaurant critic, Sally Tessio. When she likes a place, business booms. So it's very important that everything be perfect. She has the delicate taste.
You said there'd be fresh bread. I don't see any bread here.
Well, her taste is delicate, but her voice, not so much.
This hard stuff was spaghetti? Didn't smell like anything. George wanted to replace his broken piece. He'd seen the chef put the rest of it in the pot. It didn't smell like much, and the steam coming out was hot. George had to be careful. It had changed. Maybe it wasn't just donut makers. Maybe all kitchens were magic. Here was a pot that turned crisp things into floppy things. What else could it turn floppy? A soft, floppy egg. That'd be funny. Good candidate for floppification. Hunley, the doorman's dachshund, loved his lobby to be clean and organized, just like him.
Good morning, Hunley. Don't you look very shiny and sleek today?
Being long and low made him an excellent finder of lost things.
My keys! Thank you, Hundley.
Dante says thank you, Hunley.
Having sharp hearing made him an excellent squeak detector.
Good ears, Hundley. A doorman's door must look and sound perfect at all times. And his uniform must be spotless.
But Hunley felt his most important job was to protect the place from George, the absolute opposite of all that is organized and neat.
Package for 217.
Let's go, Hundley. 217. Oh, no! I'm out of uniform. Delivery, I rush right up.
Right on time. I buy and sell autographed balls. Very expensive. This one's Freddy Frikikio. I have a lot more balls coming today. Valuable collector's items.
Don't worry. Hundley and I'll make sure they're safe. Out of uniform. Ugh. A doorman's uniform is as important as his door. What's wrong, Hundley? Careful! That's full of oil. Oh, no! This is my last clean shirt. A doorman must be spotless. I have to go to the dry cleaners. I won't be long. You're in charge, Hundley.
Hunley knew the first order of business. Watch George. George never realized how much he liked the doorman's uniform. Hunley had never gotten a salute before. He must have been doing an exceptionally good job.
A doorman's uniform is as important as his door.
Hundley had to get that monkey out of uniform. But he still had a job to do.
I see you have a new partner, Hundley. You're both so handsome.
Time is of the essence. How quickly can you clean an oil stain?
An oil stain about this size?
An oil stain exactly that size. That exact oil stain.
I have no idea until I try.
Then try. I can wait because I know Hundley will keep the lobby in perfect order.
Hundley tried to get the coat off George. Which is how he found out George was ticklish. One thing George liked about Lake Wanasink Lake was that he never felt alone, even when he couldn't see other animals. He could tell they were out there.
George, hi. How about a hand? Yeah, I'm preparing an exhibit on local wildlife for the Town Nature Society, and the baby alligator lizard I was studying just disappeared. Thanks. Have fun at the lake? Wow! You saw all those animals? You only heard them? Hey! Animal sounds would be great in the exhibit. You want to help me again? Okay, just point the microphone toward the sound till you hear it nice and loud in the headphones. Then, push this red button to record it. Remember, the closer you are to an animal, the louder it gets. But don't get too close.
This was simple for a smart monkey. All he had to do was follow the sound as it got louder and... He tracked one woodpecker and thought he heard a second one. But maybe sounds aren't as simple as they sound. George was collecting pictures of all the sounds he had heard outside. Then he heard a new one, inside. George knew how to track a sound. This was different. It got louder, then went silent. Then it was far away again. This called for a second opinion.
151, 152. Wait. Oh, hi, George. Yeah, can you wait till I'm done with the moth census? Okay, I'm coming. Oh, that's just the smoke detector, George. It needs a new battery.
George wasn't sure this was the same sound he'd heard before.
And now, back to my moths.
There it was again. And it didn't come from the smoke detector. That thing was here somewhere. And he knew he could find it. Of course, it must have gone out the window. It was loud, it was soft, it was here, it was gone. George had been counting the minutes all morning. He could hardly wait. Today was dog show day.
Looking forward to seeing your first dog show, George?
Dog show. The idea of dogs putting on a show sounded better than anything he'd ever heard.
If that's Professor Wiseman, would you please let her in?
It's Professor Wiseman. Oh, hello, George. Ready to go?
Ready? I have never seen him so excited. I can't go, remember? I have to finish crunching these numbers.
Bye.
Have fun, you two. And, George. Be a good little monkey, exactly. And close the door, please.
George got more and more excited until the show began. And he found out that a dog show wasn't dogs putting on a show. It was people showing their dogs to each other. George didn't exactly pay attention.
How'd you enjoy the show, George? Aren't all the different breeds fascinating? Would you like to see the winners up close?
George got a big surprise. Because when he actually looked at the big ones, and the small ones, and the crazily hairy ones, he thought the dog show was great.
Have you ever seen so many unforgettable dogs before?
Okay. Well, it looks like you had fun. I hope he wasn't too much trouble.
He was no trouble at all.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Gotta run. See you tomorrow.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye. So, you like the dog show, huh?
George wanted to tell the man about all the unforgettable dogs he saw. But he only remembered 3.
It's okay, you can tell me later. Oh, would you do me a big favor and mail these letters? I made a sandwich if you're hungry. And when I'm done, I want to hear about all the dogs.
George was afraid he wouldn't be able to tell the man more, because no matter how hard he tried, he could only remember 3. It was a perfect day to explore Lake Wanasink Lake. Bill called it picture perfect.
You know, George, nature photography requires skill, patience, and timing. Remember, George, to cross a log, you need exact foot placement and a keen sense of balance. Those are tadpoles, George. A common form of pond life. I guess a city kid like you never sees any real wildlife, huh? Hey, why don't we take some back home and observe their growth? While collecting tadpoles, both proper net control and collecting jar placement are crucial. Hey, how'd you like to look after them for me? Do the tadpoles like the lettuce I boiled for them? Now remember, I want you to watch them closely for me. They do some amazing things as they grow. Keep them safe in that bowl, and they should be just fine.
And so, on that gloriously sunny day, George became the proud caretaker of a bowl full of tadpoles. The tadpole's bowl was small. George thought they deserved to stretch their, well, whatever a tadpole stretches, and decided to let them enjoy a quick swim in the lagoon while he went to get their lunch. Where could the tadpoles be? What would he tell Bill?
Hey, George! Lagoon exploration is fascinating, isn't it? Oh, by the way, how are my tadpoles doing? See you soon!
Time to go back to the city, George.
George hoped the tadpoles would be okay without a monkey to feed or protect them.
George! Look, my caterpillar is in its pupa stage. I bet kids like you never see that in the city, huh? Hey, have my tadpoles done anything amazing yet?
Weeks went by before George returned to the lake. George still couldn't find the tadpoles, but they had to be in the lagoon. Unless... The man with the yellow hat always said the same thing about rainy days in the country.
This is great weather. For ducks.
And when the rain stopped, it was great weather for monkeys. Mud that sounded like a duck when he squished it. Yes, it was duck mud. He knew he didn't squish that quack out. He had discovered self-quacking duck mud. Okay, it wasn't duck mud. There were real ducks.
Puddle ducks. See, George, I told you it was great weather for ducks. You're gonna be busy, George. Have fun.
Jumpy Squirrel suddenly became aware of two things. The rain had stopped, and that hairy duck looked familiar. Jumpy Squirrel usually jumped away from anything new. Peking Duck was the same way. Maybe that's why they became good friends instantly. George played by the puddle all day. He even had ducks in his dreams.
I always knew you were meant to be a duck. Have a nice flight.
For centuries, people have wondered what squirrels dream about. The next morning, George raced out for another day with puddle ducks. Something was wrong. The puddle was smaller, a lot smaller.
George? Wow, that puddle sure shrunk. Well, puddles soak into the ground. They don't last forever. Ducks go where there's plenty of water. When the water's gone, they'll leave. It's just what ducks do. You want to come with me to mend fences at the Rankins? Or play with the ducks before they go?
For a professional lobby dog like Hunley, it's nice to catch a nap when the lobby is peaceful. But when George lives in your building, guarding against monkey mishaps is always more important than sleep.
Good morning. Headed out to have fun?
No, going to Dr. Baker for my annual checkup.
Right on time as usual. What didn't you bring? Oh, George. Hello. Have a seat in the waiting room. I'll call you when the doctor's ready.
George learned that the thing you need most in a doctor's waiting room is patience.
Huh?
A mysterious sound. George listened as quietly as he could.
Dr. Baker will see you now.
Oh, great. Come on, George. We're finally getting out of the waiting room.
George gave up hope of hearing any mystery sound past that sneezing.
I'm still waiting for Dr. Gesund. Well, I'm sure he'll be right with you. Excuse me, has Dr. Gesund seen you yet?
No. Where is he?
He should be right with you. You're waiting for Dr. Gesund, too? He should be right with you.
Oh, hi, Doctor. You remember George?
How could I forget? Before your last checkup, I never knew the x-ray machine fit out the window.
Dr. Baker, have you seen Dr. Gesund? His patients are waiting.
No. You should check the x-ray room. And you should take off your shirt for the examination.
Yeah, sure, Doc.
George thought he'd like to be a doctor because Dr. Baker seemed so smart. And he got to wear a really great white coat.
Okay, let's get started. Up on the scale. Whoa, I think you need to cut out the desserts. You've gained some weight.
What? I have maybe one donut a month. I run marathons. It's impossible.
Same as last year.
Whew.
This is how I check his reflexes, George.
My knee's starting to get sore.
Oh, sorry. I never get to play with a monkey.
Dr. Gesund...
Okay, take a long, deep breath. Oh, I don't like the sound of that breathing.
No, George was...
Whoa. Ever use the stethoscope, George? I use it to hear things that I can't see.
That's the sound of my heart.
You can play with your heart while we go to the x-ray room.
Sometimes a little monkey finds a new thing that's more interesting than anything else on Earth. For George, It was the baby giant panda, which was being shown live on the zoo website.
George, are you gonna be much longer? Well, I need to get work done, and you've been on the computer all day. Oh, is that what you've been watching? The Panda Cam? Hey, you know those pictures come from the park zoo right down the block. Well, yeah, you can go there and see the panda right in front of you in the new panda habitat. Bye. Be a good little monkey.
There was one thing on George's mind. Baby panda. Baby panda. Baby panda.
Look, Mommy! Flamingos!
George didn't want to go the wrong way and lose any panda time. How could he choose a path? A nice big map. George decided to take it and follow the pictures to guide him through the zoo. He'd found the pandas. That map really worked. This was much better than watching on the computer. George could watch the panda for hours. And he did. Until he felt like that baby would never get any leaves to eat.
Nobody here? Guess I can lock up.
Time flies when you're watching pandas. George realized he'd better go before they close the zoo. The paths were too confusing. George liked visiting Professor Wiseman because she did so many different things. This time, she was helping out on a rocket launch. And the man with the yellow hat was going to ride the rocket.
So, you ready to be the first average untrained person shot into space?
I sure am.
There's only room for one, George, but I have a special seat for you right beside me so you can watch. This is Dr. Alvin Einstein and Professor Anthony Pizza.
Wow. Are you related to the famous...
No, I'm not. Me neither.
The International Space Station's food supply has run out.
We found a peanut. It was in the cushion of my chair.
This man with the yellow hat will bring your food supply today.
So then it's okay to eat the peanut now?
Well, should he? No, I'm not sure. Oh, yes, I think it's...
Yes, you may eat the peanut.
So, this is your rocket designed by Professor Wiseman. It's up to you to launch the food payload at exactly the proper moment. After it detaches from the rocket, it will connect to the space station. Can we count on you?
Sure can.
Professor Pizza and I are loading extra experiments you'll deliver with the food.
George wanted to see what these experiments were.
George, careful. This is an expensive, high-tech... raccoon?
They'll live at the space station so we can study how they adapt to life in space.
George could see into all the containers except this one. What was hidden in there?
Show him the most important part. These keypads launch the payload. You hit these 2 keys on each pad at the same time.
On all 4 at the same time?
Yes, at the exact moment the rocket passes the space station.
I can't. I only have 2 hands.
The keypads were Pizza's idea. The raccoon was my idea. The 4 keypads was yours. Oh, here we go. Check your memos. I specifically remembered when you came up with the 4 keypads.
Oh, we have to scrub the mission.
Or find an astronaut with 4 hands. Hey.